Some people don't understand how YouTube works. Some people think they're above the system, the communities they inhabit. Some people aren't worthy of a captain's log or a fully scripted video in favor of a rant aimed at you for failing so beautifully. It is why I now have to say, John Swan is right. I know I've criticized him before, but in the context of you, Kai Weiss, he is correct. In fact, many people are. Harley as well, and I know someone's now going to say,
"You shouldn't be associating with either of these people, they're problematic."
When someone is right, it does not matter if you believe they are problematic. They are right. It is as simple as that. Kai Weiss is now an example of a commentary YouTuber who can't handle criticism. There are quite a few of them. It's hardly surprising. Kai Weiss cocked up so magnificently, they went scorched earth, came back, went scorched earth, came back, and I'm not going to continue that, because by the time I've put this out, they may well have gone scorched earth again. I would tell you more about who Kai Weiss is, but in truth, prior to this incident, I knew nothing of them. Their cock-up is what got my attention. And now I have to talk about an unwritten rule amongst many commentary YouTubers. I would argue the vast majority. You do not flag another person. You don't do it. Usually because of the fallout, but also principle. Many of us believe in absolute free speech. And if someone uses our content provided they link back to us, what's the real problem? Unless, of course, it's mad bants aimed at us, in which case we must protect our brand. Do I need to roll my eyes for that? Because I really can't be bothered. In favor of simply saying, we do not tolerate false flagging. We don't tolerate flagging. Because flagging is pathetic. It's childish. On the 4th of November, Kai Weiss put out a video called Apologizing to Akuma, Jar, and Harley TBS. Jar is just a robot. He's a twat. But he's alright. He knows it though. During this video though, Kai admits to flagging Akuma. And the reason why is because while much of it was transformative, i.e. edited content from Akuma, anything that featured Kai was not transformative. Anything that featured Kai was just stolen, with a cute little filter on it. And because of the length of the video used, that was unacceptable and flag. Here's a fun fact for you. Many people would argue it doesn't matter how long the clip is, as long as enough context is provided with the clip used. Now we can speed things up. We as creators can manipulate the video so it's angled differently and it then just looks like you but isn't you. Maybe we put your voice through a modulator, pixelate the video itself. However, the rest of us would just rather use the clip so that the context spoken from you is best given. It does not matter how long the clip is. YouTube does have a fair use policy, and most of us seem to have an agreement 30 seconds interjection at most. But without the original content, because you flagged it, we don't have that. Unless it's been reinstated, in which case, I just didn't see it. During that same video apologizing to Akuma, Jar, and Harley TBS, Kai then just said, "I'm still justified," which is a bit strange. It's almost like you didn't apologize. There is a running joke that's been going on for years. Let's say since the inception of any kind of apology on YouTube, where anyone that does apologize just says, "I'm sorry," and then goes off on a massive tangent, devaluing, undermining, and everything else, blah blah blah, the apology. These tactics of apologizing, not apologizing, scorched earth, burying oneself in a hole and hoping for the best, reminds me an awful lot of, well, shortly after I made a video on Gabe the Samurai, now Happy Blobfish Productions. If you don't know who that is, I'll link the video and then insert a public service announcement. Stay away from him. But back to Kai. Many people on Twitter absolutely railed Kai for this. Irate Alex, whatever his name is grown and has jumped on creators before himself, and then he yeets his own effing YouTube. He's a weenie too. Cecil McFly got blocked. Others pointing out that Prince Kai doesn't realise how stupid Prince Kai looks because they believe their performance during a herd debate was superb, sublime, stellar, all the S's, but actually a massive L, which then not long after led to Kai deleting their Twitter account and their YouTube channel, but then brought back the Twitter account to say, I want to leave this up to let it be known I'm sorry. Ooh, we're off to a good start. While I feel justified in the strike, I feel there are many other ways I could have handled it. I'm not trying to run from the situation, but the harassment has gotten to be a lot and it kind of opened my eyes. Now, many people pointed out, a lot of people tend to conflate harassment and criticism. Now, some of it, yes, would have been kind of inappropriate, and you did show as much with screenshots with anyone dropping the N-word at you. Of course, that is not acceptable behaviour, I know, and I'm not going to downplay those morons. But I do want to point out, you are the instrument of your own self-destruction. The criticism you've received, while much of it unacceptable, the vast majority was criticism. You may not like the way it was phrased, but it is still criticism regardless. I feel like we're getting to a stage where the word harassment is losing all meaning because of sensitive snowflake types like yourself. By the way, because of your behaviour. Since all of this went down, you really don't have much replacing commentary, do you? People that cock up in commentary get utterly flayed, and when they do, how they respond to it determines how much they are respected going forward. I hereby present within this video, Rant even, a lack thereof. During that particular Twitter thread, you do go on to say that you're not the guy for commentary and that you essentially quit. I sincerely doubt that, and nor would I recommend you quit. Simply learn from your mistake. That's all you have to do. Either that or just bury your head in the sand and come back later. Do I need to roll my eyes for that as well? At some point, you put out a twit longer. Now, I did archive this. It took me a while to find the archive link because I'm stupid, where you mentioned that John Swan brought up the Sargon of Akkad upload, where Sargon took clips from Aquila, which then was condensed down to a 2-minute video from the original video, which led to a court case and Aquila lost. Your counter to that is that Akuma uploaded the entire video of yours, with a solid amount being unedited. The cutting of the clips is in no way the same to what Sargon did in his video on Aquila. Fair use considers proportions of content, and the proportions of Aquila's content was very little. Lord Sargipu did not take large swaths of her content unedited. That's why you deemed it incredibly important that John watch the video that he referenced, because it could well go against his point, and it did. The problem you have here, and it's a big problem really, is that most people were on Sargon's side. Much like before we were on Ethan Klein's side, when he got taken to court as well. When it comes to content creators flagging, generally, there isn't much support. Context does of course matter, and we can all agree with that. But you struck the context, cause content used? Have you ever seen a response video before? Generally you use vast amounts of that person's content to make points because you don't want to be accused of cherry picking and or quote mining. Now, John Swan tweeted out, Kai really baffles me. He did one of the things that commentary is so staunchly against and struck another creator that was critical of him. After getting backlash, he doubled down at every opportunity insisting he was right. When people rightfully gave him flack, he has the nerve to cry harassment. He had the opportunity to apologize at so many points, but he refuses to concede. Akuma still has a strike on his channel. Even now, he has to put out a thread on his Twitter apologizing where he says he still believes the strike was justified. Kai put himself in this situation. Kai didn't want to listen to me when I tried to reason with him, even after it was clear to him that the general community was not on his side. Kai continued to double down. This is Kai's doing and no one else's. I'm sorry, but I have very little sympathy. He can't cry about this when he had countless opportunities to make things right. Even now, at what is apparently his lowest point, he refuses to make things right. All Kai ever had to do was say sorry. Nothing else, nothing less, nothing more. 2 words. I'm sorry. And this would have gone away. But you are so arrogant. So damn arrogant. And we know this because of all the tweets that got archived since. All of which will be linked to the pinned comment down below. But you really can't handle criticism at all. By the way, I'm just going to mention now, I've seen a few threads from the likes of Harley TBS as well. I'm going to link that as well, because these are very informative, and it really does help to understand how, for example, two people like John and Harley, who don't get on, I don't believe they do, can both agree on something so fundamentally wrong. Did John Swan win the debate? Yes. Does it feel right saying that? No. What should Kai do next? Well, that's up to Kai. If Kai really wants to make things right, you just say sorry, and you get the strike removed if you can. You owe an apology for that. It's a dick move, and you know it. I don't like copyright strikes. I have never, by the way, struck another person. Ever. I won't do it. I've reported someone on Twitter, but only once. And it was because they genuinely crossed a certain line they should have never crossed with me. Like a criminal line. It doesn't happen. We don't do these things. But when it comes to YouTube, no. Because if you're going to criticize me, I'm going to take it on board. I've been criticized by the likes of Just Stop. I even reached out to him after watching the video and I said thank you, because it actually helped me see things very clearly. I've been criticized by Edwin and Turkey Tom, I believe, during a live stream covering the Pyrocynical incident, which is how I actually came into contact with Just Stop. I took the criticism on board. I apologized to the right person directly via DM. They accepted the apology, and we moved on. Simple as that.